So there's a lot of talk out there, Congressman, and justifiably so, that Americans can't agree on anything these days, but they seem to agree on this. Talk to us about this issue and why you signed on to the letter.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. 80% of Americans across all political ideologies, including independents, support this. There was a bill passed back in 2012 called the Stock Act, which was basically transparency and disclosure requirements. Certainly they are important, but that does not go nearly far enough. I was an FBI agent in your home state of New York, Tom, part of the white-collar crime unit, investigating, amongst many other things, insider trading. If it's illegal for the American public to do, it should certainly be illegal for members of Congress to do. Members of Congress, by virtue of their position and their committee assignments, get closed-door briefings from CEOs, from corporate executives, from board members. They gain access to information that is not available to the American public. There are actually algorithms out there, I believe on TikTok is one of them, that follow the stock transactions of members of Congress as an indication of where the market's going to head on a particular issue. So it's outrageous, and transparency is not enough. We have to ban members of Congress and their family members from trading stocks at all while they're serving.
You know, they go to Washington as sort of Mr. Smiths, and then they come out multimillionaires, and everybody's wondering, well, how does that happen? So you put that letter into Pelosi after she's now saying she's changed her stance, that she'd be open to banning stock trades by members of Congress if it gets enough support. The letter cited a 2020 investigation by the Justice Department into stock trades made by several senators in the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic as further evidence that this needs to be done. Congressman, do you think that we're going to see votes in both the House and the Senate, and there are Senate sort of companion bills as well to this, do you think that we're going to see votes in both houses of Congress this year?
Well, we have to demand it, and your viewers hopefully will be demanding that their member of Congress co-sponsor this legislation. There's a couple pieces of legislation. There's two ways a bill can be brought to the floor. One is the Speaker agrees to let it come to the floor, so that's on Speaker Pelosi. If she does not do that, a second mechanism is utilizing something called the 290 rule. If we can get 290 co-sponsors on a piece of legislation, that allows us to circumvent House leadership and put it on something called the consensus calendar, at which point we would force a full floor vote. That requires 290 of our colleagues to get on this bill. So I encourage all your viewers to reach out to their representative and get them to co-sponsor this.
How confident are you that you're going to be able to get enough Democrats and Republicans? I think you're going to get a lot of Republicans on it, but will you get enough Democrats on it in order to do that?
We will find out, and anybody who refuses to co-sponsor this bill, we ought to advertise that in their district.
All right, I want to move on. You're on the House Committee on Foreign Affairs. You're obviously following the situation between Russia and Ukraine very closely. The United States sent a letter to Russia addressing the country's security demands in an attempt to cool tensions this week. Secretary Blinken told reporters in a press briefing this week that the U.S. Response also offered a, quote, serious diplomatic path forward. Where do you see this at this point? As you've been talking to folks on the committee, and what do you think? Where do you think we are?
Unfortunately, Tom, we're not in a good place, and it's because of this administration projecting weakness. This, unfortunately, is unraveling like Afghanistan 2.0 all over again. You cannot project weakness on the world stage when you're dealing with bullies like Vladimir Putin. Kiev was my last international assignment as an FBI agent. I was stationed there. The people desperately want to be part of the EU. They desperately want to be part of NATO. But it was Russian saboteurs inside that country that were preventing them from meeting the two metrics they were falling short on. One was economic, and the other was anti-corruption measures. They were not meeting those metrics because the Russians were doing everything they could to make sure they didn't meet them. There's over 100,000 troops staged at 3 different points along the border, one to the south in Crimea, one to the east in Donbass, and to the north in Belarus. And we're very concerned. This administration, once again, is projecting weakness. You cannot do that. And there's something called proactive deterrence, where we could start, for example, start stage 1 sanctions now, because Russia already has provoked. Putting 100,000 troops on the border is provocation, and it's provocation that's already costing us money. This administration just last week released another $200 million in aid, so it's already coming at a cost. But you cannot wait for Vladimir Putin to make the first move here.
Yesterday, President Biden was in your home state, and hours before he landed, there was a bridge collapse in Pittsburgh. You're on the Transportation Infrastructure Committee as well. The president is continuing to tout that the infrastructure bill will lead to big fixes in our infrastructure, economic recovery, and job creation. But a lot of Americans are all saying, hey, when is that going to happen?
Yeah, well, it starts getting released through the Department of Transportation, hopefully in the next month or so, of that transportation bill, that infrastructure bill, I should say. About $600 billion of that was a standard 5-year surface transportation reauthorization that sails through Congress without any problem. It last passed in 2015 on a Republican-controlled Congress. The remainder is $550 billion spread over 5 years, and that's what needs to be dispersed. So it can't happen quick enough because just by contrast, Tom, China last year alone spent over $3 trillion in infrastructure outside of their country as part of the Belt and Road Initiative. The money does need to get to these states, hopefully my home state of Pennsylvania here.
You know, you voted for the legislation. I think that it's one of the things that people expect government to do. We haven't made those investments before. Your colleague Don Bacon voted for it as well. He's now in the crosshairs of former President Trump as a result. Do you expect to get any blowback for your vote there, sir?
Well, no, because we did it, Tom, in large part to kill Build Back Better. And that succeeded, and also to preserve the filibuster, and that has succeeded. So, you know, the jury is still out on this, but, you know, part of the motivation to pass that additional $550 billion over 5 years was to make sure that America did not get stuck with a $5 trillion monstrosity that we can't afford, and moreover, to preserve the filibuster, because if that filibuster breaks, Tom, and H.R. 1 becomes law, you won't recognize this country. Absolutely. So we got to play chess and not checkers here.
All right. I appreciate that. Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick, thanks for being here.
Thank you, sir.